Whether you subscribe to the nearly universal, scientifically accepted concept of global warming and climate change, one thing is true. The trees in the Shaver Lake area of the Sierra are dying by the thousands. Tree service companies are getting rich eliminating trees that are hundreds of years old, yet due to drought, beetle infestation, unseasonably warm temperatures, and overcrowded trees, in part due to the Forest Service fire regulations, necessary because of the human residents, an ecosystem that would self-regulate, given enough time, is being managed and culled in much the same way it was in the late 1800s and early 1900s. Albeit with massive tractors, chainsaws with 3 and 4 foot bars, and stump grinders capable of chewing trees up to 40 inches in diameter. Man's control and manipulation of the area has been evident since the 1890s, when 2 engineers from Fresno captured the San Joaquin River and sent Sierra hydropower 37 miles away to Fresno. And East Coast logger, Mr. C.B. Shaver, created the first dam that later became Shaver Lake. After depleting the lumber source in the east, Shaver came out west to chop down the trees in the Sierra. Shaver, along with several investors, constructed a 41-mile V-shaped flume to carry the lumber to Fresno. By 1905, after surviving near bankruptcy and labor issues, the operation was capable of pillaging 35 million feet of lumber per year, with sole access to the so-called inexhaustible 20,000 acres of trees. When workers went on break, they would ride the 41-mile flume on board rafts down to the valley for some good times. The ride took 6 hours and reached the speeds of 35 miles an hour at the steepest sections. The Shaver and Dinkey area has miles of logging roads, some still alive due to jeeps rousting through the mostly overgrown dirt roads. And in some areas, there's still obscurely placed asphalt. The scope of the old infrastructure is monumental. Highway 168 leads drivers out of the Central Valley and tapers off somewhere just past Huntington Lake near China Peak. A single-lane road continues past that and ends at 2 more Edison Lakes. But at some point in the 1920s, businessmen, politicians, and the Forest Service in Fresno, the state, and on the other side of the Sierra in Inyo County and Bishop had grand plans of grinding through the remaining untapped granite peaks to complete the remaining 32 miles to connect the Central Valley to the Owens Valley. The unbuilt road, called Paiute Pass, would have rivaled Tioga Pass in Yosemite in its grandeur and capacity to allow drivers access to what would otherwise only be achieved by adventurers on foot or animal. The Depression intervened in the planning, financing, and enthusiasm for the road, and subsequent leaders of the Forest Service and the Sierra Club moved to create administrative and environmental barriers to paving the Sierra. Paiute Pass is now for foot traffic and horses, while traversing from the Central Valley to Mammoth via Tioga Pass through Yosemite. In 1972, after interest perked again for the Paiute Road, California Governor Reagan persuaded President Nixon to stop construction, and the area in question was protected by Congress when the Ansel Adams and John Muir Wilderness areas were merged. Regardless of the protection, the Shaver Lake, Dinkey Creek, and Huntington Lake area is veined with off-road access, providing hours of both genuine Sierra adventure and legitimate off-road shenanigans.